Most men don't realize this until it's too late. They go through heartbreak, betrayal, confusion, and sit there wondering how the woman they trusted, laughed with, maybe even planned a future with, could suddenly flip the script like it was nothing. And that confusion doesn't go away until you understand the one truth nobody teaches you. Women don't live in the same world you do. Not because they're evil, not because they're broken, but because their world is built on emotion, not logic. It's not about what happened. It's about how it felt. You could have done everything right, been loyal, provided, stayed consistent. But if her feelings shift, the entire truth shifts with it. She could swear love to you on Monday and delete your number by Sunday, not because she's lying, but because her emotional reality changed. And you, standing there with facts, with screenshots, with dates, with memories, you'll think you're proving your case, like a lawyer in court. But she's not in that courtroom with you. She's in a dream world shaped by how things feel, in the moment. And that's why you feel like you're going crazy trying to make sense of nonsense. You're speaking logic, and she's living in sensation. She says, "I just don't feel the same anymore." And that's all it takes. Feelings overrule facts. And here's the part that breaks most men. She doesn't even realize she's doing it. She's not plotting, she's not scheming, she's just flowing with emotional waves that she doesn't control. And unless you understand this emotional filter, you will keep running in circles, getting hurt by women who don't even know why they're hurting you. They're just reacting to the emotional weather of the moment, and unless you stay grounded, you'll get dragged into the storm with her. When a woman tells you she loves you, she's not lying. She means it, in that moment. But what most men don't get is that her feelings are like weather patterns, constantly shifting, sometimes sunny, sometimes a storm out of nowhere. And when those feelings shift, the truth itself changes in her mind. You'll stand there thinking, "But what? About everything you said? Everything we built?" And she'll look at you like you're crazy, because to her, that's old news. Her emotional reality has already moved on. This is where men get destroyed emotionally, because we operate on commitment, loyalty, follow-through. Men hold on to their word like it's a code. Women, they hold on to what feels right today. And when today's feeling clashes with yesterday's promises, yesterday loses. It's not personal, it's emotional survival. So when you see a woman suddenly ghost you, cheat on you, or act cold like a stranger, it's not because she's evil. It's because in her world, the truth already shifted. She's not living in betrayal. She's living in self-preservation, based on emotion. That's why explaining things to her doesn't work. You're bringing facts to a world built on feeling. It's like bringing a chessboard to a football game. Wrong game, wrong rules. And social media, it's made this even worse. Now she's constantly bombarded by polished versions of other people's lives, comparing you to filtered fantasy after fantasy. She doesn't even know she's doing it. It just feels like she could be happier somewhere else, with someone else. Not because you're failing, but because she's addicted to emotional highs. And brother, you can't compete with a fantasy. That's why you have to stop chasing and start standing. The moment you stop trying to argue with her feelings, you start winning your peace back. Here's what most men never realize until it's too late. A woman doesn't fall in love with you first. She falls in love with the story she tells herself about you. It's emotional projection. She meets you, she likes your vibe, your energy, maybe even the way you make her laugh, and instantly she starts building castles in her mind. She imagines the future, fills in the blanks with who she hopes you are, not who you actually are. And in those early days when everything feels electric and intense, you start thinking, wow, this is real. But what's really happening is she's falling for the movie playing in her head. You're just the placeholder for the role. And as long as you fit that fantasy, she's all in. But here's the catch. No man can live up to a fantasy forever. Eventually, the real you starts showing up. The flaws, the mistakes, the human parts. And that's when the shift happens. Slowly, you start noticing the affection fades, the excitement dulls, the texts get shorter. You're sitting there wondering what changed. What happened to the woman who said she was crazy about you? The truth is, she never really knew you. She knew the story she wrote about you. And once reality didn't match the script in her head, the emotional high faded, and so did she. That's why you see women saying wild contradictions like, "I want a strong man who's soft," or "I want a leader who lets me lead." It's not logical, but it feels right to her. She's chasing a vibe, not consistency. And as soon as that emotional vibe disappears, she pulls back. Not to hurt you, but because her fantasy didn't match the facts. And the emotional movie, in her mind, has moved on to its next scene. Social media has made this emotional fantasy world even more dangerous, and most men don't even see it coming. Every single day, she's scrolling through perfectly edited pictures, highlight reels of relationships, videos of men saying all the right words, acting like perfect lovers, and now her emotional expectations aren't just based on her imagination. They're being fed by artificial perfection non-stop. She's comparing your real, imperfect life to a fantasy that doesn't even exist, and it feels real to her. It feels like she's missing out. And that's the trap. You could be doing everything right, working hard, staying loyal, providing stability, but none of that matters if the emotional high isn't constant. You're now competing with illusions. You're being measured against filtered bodies, rented, cars, scripted romance clips, and TikToks designed to sell her a dream. And when real life doesn't give her that same rush, she starts thinking something's wrong, not with the fantasy, but with you. And here's the brutal part. She doesn't even know she's doing it. It's not manipulation, it's programming. Modern culture teaches her that every feeling is valid, that she deserves fireworks every day, that if love doesn't constantly feel magical, it must be broken. She's not chasing love. She's chasing emotional addiction. And when you try to sit her down and explain reality, show her loyalty, effort, consistency, she'll think you just don't get it. That's when the disrespect creeps in. That's when the comparisons start. And that's when most men start chasing harder, thinking, if they just do more, they'll bring her back. But brother, you can't compete with a highlight reel. You can't fight illusion with logic. The only way to win is to stop playing the game and build a life too real to be shaken by emotional fantasies. The hardest lesson a man ever learns is that you can't save her from her own illusions. You can't pull her out of a world she doesn't even know she's living in. And the more you try to rescue her, the more you'll lose yourself. That's why most strong men eventually reach a point where they stop explaining, stop chasing, stop arguing with emotions that change by the hour. They stop trying to prove themselves to someone who's constantly rewriting the script of what she wants. They finally realize that peace is worth more than potential. You don't build your life hoping someone wakes up. You build it because you refuse to stay asleep. And the truth is, the more grounded you are, the more she'll test you. She'll throw emotional storms your way just to see if you'll break, just to see if you'll lose your center. Not because she's evil, but because a man who doesn't flinch makes her feel both curious and terrified. If you crack under pressure, she loses respect. If you stay calm, she either rises to meet you or she walks. Either way, you win, because real love isn't built on emotional highs. It's built on stability, leadership, truth. And that kind of love isn't exciting at first. It's not chaotic. It's steady. And that's why it lasts. Most women won't be ready for it. They'll run until life humbles them, until reality breaks the illusion. And by then, you'll be gone. Not bitter, not broken, just done. You'll have built a life that doesn't need constant validation, affection, or drama to feel whole. And when that moment comes, she won't be mourning you. She'll be mourning the life she threw away. And you'll be free, standing where you always belonged. In reality, not someone else's dream.